So we move on to the Kaltron former Supercars and Bejo Trustees fine cars for the first race of the day. 12 of them in all out there. And the top 5 all Opel-based supercar, rear-wheel drive. And then we have the likes of Yakuza Station, Toyota Conquest, pole man in the fine car section, and Matia, Porsche 928. Robert Toscano, Chris Champion, with Toscano in his MX-5, and the GT MGB of Chris Champion, Guy Duckmore in 10th, in the Austin Healey Sprites, Dave Alexander in the Morgan, and then Robert Lewis in the MGA. I'm just going to take through the supercars. And that will be Andrew Moffat on pole position, Glenn Phillips in second alongside him. And that was a 6 or 4/10 of a second difference in practice. Kyle Halleck in third position. Yassine Darman will be sharing that row with him. And then will be Craig Hugh, the last of the supercars, in fifth position. Then I said, of course, I mentioned the fine cars, Westhuizen and Mateer. Robert Toscano, Chris Champion, and then the Austin Healey Frog-Eyed Sprite of Guy Duckmore in there as well. You'll see that little yellowy type car that will be coming out there. That will be the Austin Healey Sprite, also known as the Frog-Eyed Sprite. And then Dave Alexander Morgan, +8, and then the MGA of trusty Roger Lewis, the man with number 1 on his car. Number 1 always signifies the champion. So that's what he is. There's 12 of them out there in all. And the wind has come up quite a bit. You can hear it howling. The rain is gone for now. And that will help dry out any wet track that is still there, which we had quite a bit of. But it's an 8-lap race. I see the Renault Triber safety car has taken them off the grid.
Just checking my mic works. The sound's been loud. But we're in. We're back to the cord mics as the supercars take off.
Yeah, so try and generate as much heat into those tyres as possible now. And just stamp on the brakes. You want to get into that first turn, have enough temperatures generated. Of course, warming the tyres up warms the wheel up, which in turn will warm the brakes up. Actually, brakes will warm the rims, and then of course the tyres heat up quite nicely over here. So down the straight they go, the Joubert Straight. All 5 at the front are supercars. Craig Hume will round them off. Then we have those fine cars, and I was speaking last race meeting to Westhuizen in the 1600 Toyota Conquest. He actually was talking about a new motor in that car, which he has, looks like, put in. He was having a little bit of a smoking motor and needed to get a new unit in the front of that Conquest. It looks like he has. He's ahead of that V8 928. Of course, one of the great range of front-engine Porsches that came out many years ago, along with the 944 and the 924. And then don't count out the MX-5 of Robert Toscano, who is a former champion in the fine car section.
That MX-5 has been campaigning for many years, longer than I care to remember. But yep, so a very incomparable class here. We've got the supercars, then we've got the fine cars. The fine cars is a very indifferent mix. So we'll have to see how they do. And we're talking there about Jaco Westhuizen. He drives that Conquest from his house to the track, Byron.
Well, we have a number of those competitors. I think, you know, I used to gymkhana a number of years ago at Killarney, and I used to do the same.
Yep.
You know, some of us can't afford fancy things like A-frames and trailers and, you know, mobile pit units and all.
But I think I think that holds an advantage, because you can sort of play around on the way to the track and you know that everything's working. So when you get here, you know it's going to work.
You know, I remember speaking to some of the older guys. If you go back in the past, the late Brian Peake and all of them talked about driving. He drove his Dauphine in the 50s to the track and would race it against the Beetles and so on, and take a race win, put your trophy on your seat next to you, and head on
driver,
home.
there, why not? Right, so they Supercars on their way up towards the line. They're going to be waiting for the lights, and we'll get the show on the road. Their first heat of the day. They've got so much of a dry track there out there for them, so let's have a look, see how they do. They come up towards the line, they wait for the lights to go off now as they make their way towards us. The lights go off, and Moffat pulls away with Glenn Phillips, Kyle Halleck, Yassine Darmon and Craig Hume in there, and they make their way down towards turn number 1.
Well, here come our fine cars now, the Bejo Trustees fine cars to be exact, and we go for turn 1, and on the outside of turn 1 it's going to be Mattia in the Porsche. Will he be able to make his way past the Conquest? No, the Conquest will hold that inside line, come out of turn 1 and onto the Joubert straight, and just struggling to hang on there for a moment is the MX-5 of Robert Toscano.
Well, it looks like Moffat's pulled away there from Glenn Phillips. So they make their way down in towards Interceptor corner, and well, they make their way through there now. The field getting spread out already, and Phillips in there, Kyle Halleck, Yassine Darmon and Craig Hume will work their way through. Yeah, they come up towards us. It looks like it's Moffat, Phillips, then it's going to be looks like Darmon, Halleck, and then Hume, as they all make their way down now the back straight down towards Pertamina Fostron corner. Nice high speed. You see the track drying out a little bit, a couple of dry patches, so the braking point might be a little bit later going into Pertamina Fostron corner, turn number 5.
Yeah, you'll just see on the outside of turn 5 on the apron, on the runoff tarmac, there is a bit of moisture, and then coming out of turn 5 there's still those little bits of rivers, not quite rivers anymore, but coming streams, you could say, coming across the track. And now towards the line will come our Glenn Phillips first in the Opel Supercar, Andrew Moffat, and then Yassine Darmon, Kyle Halleck, and the fifth of the cars is Craig Hume. But the big one, of course, now is the battle in the fine cars class. Jaco Oosthuizen still keeps it ahead of Kuni Mattia at the moment.
Right, so the Supercars into Castro corner. Glenn Phillips head there of Andrew Moffat. They've pulled away a little bit there from Yassine Darmon, has been hounded there by Kyle Halleck. A little bit further back there is Craig Hume. Into Castro corner, Halleck is pretty familiar with that part of the circuit. Used to race short circuit motorcycles, now finds himself in a supercar. He works his way down through turn number 3 into Interceptor corner now, and the leaders coming up the Tigerberg straight up towards Super Van Sweep. And still Glenn Phillips in the red Opel Supercar leads out there of Andrew Moffat. Moffat's usually used to be staying in the lead. Yassine Darmon coming here, and he's got Kyle Halleck up behind him there with that bright coloured car, not too far behind Craig Hume. So it's the 5 supercars battling it out there, and up behind them the fine cars.
The supercar drivers, in my mind, will be very happy that it's not as wet as it was earlier on. These cars are particularly difficult already to drive in the dry, and remember a number of years ago, and Frankie has mentioned it as well, that Jess Huggett said you basically have about a second or two's worth of reaction time before something really goes into you become a passenger. So they are now in slightly drier conditions, coming across the line, a 1:12.909 for Glenn Phillips, and he finds himself 1.2 seconds ahead of Andrew Moffat. And look at the gap that they have ahead of Yassine Darmon already, Francois. Yassine Darmon is only half a second ahead of Kyle Halleck at the moment.
You had me worried when you said Glenn Phillips did a 1:12. It's actually a 1:32. Yeah, I know, it's the writing. I thought Glenn Phillips found something in that car that no one's ever found.
I only click now, I can tell you that much. That'll be a heck of a lap.
I tell you what, but Glenn Phillips nonetheless pedaling along merrily there in a 1:32. He's followed there by Moffat in a 1:33. Darmon does a 1:40. Halleck's a 1:40, and Craig Hume a 1:43. Kyle Halleck starting to challenge Yassine Darmon coming out of Castrol corner, turn number 2. Oh, and we got someone off.
Somebody in the wall at turn 3, Interceptor corner.
It's Moffat.
It's Moffat.
Moffat's off. Oh, well, and Moffat won't be too happy with that one. And there's a little bit of smoke or steam coming out of that car, possibly a bit of radiator damage there. So that means Darmon will move up into second place with Halleck in third. Or matter, Halleck's going to second, going there into on picture. into Supervan sweep. Carl Halleck goes up ahead of Yasin Darmon, so Halleck takes over second place. Gloves off, they're making their way down now towards Pertamina Fast-Strong corner.
Yeah, he had to hold himself there into turn 3 first, Francois, and then when the green flags are shown, he could make his move. Down the straight they go, and it is Yasin Darmon and Carl Halleck now the new second and third place runners as Glenn Phillips crosses the line with a 1:33.019. But I'm just going to go a little bit further down to the line as it is going to be the 2 now. Andrew Moffat out of the race, unfortunately.
Well, we see Kuni Westhuizen leading out now in the Conquest. There's Kuni Mattia up behind him in second place. I would imagine Kuni Mattia should be a bit closer. He's got all the power on the foot of that big Porsche. But obviously just idling around, and Robert Toscano down in third. Alexander, Chris Champion, Dugmore and Lewis follow suit. And we can see there on the picture, if you run off, you're into a mud bath of note.
Well, we've seen a few cars get stuck over the last few races. The mud is quite thick. You can see on the screen a few wheel marks, tire tread, I can say rather there. But is this number 21, Craig Hume, going just a little slowly over here? He's looks like he's being passed now by Jaco Oosthuizen and Kuni Mattia right behind him. A 2.7 second gap between the two of them as there are 5 laps left to go, including this one they are currently on.
Well, I can tell you something, for nothing. Glenn Phillips has absolutely rocketed away. There he comes out of turn number 5 now, Pertamina Fast-Strong corner. And, well, he's unopposed at the moment. He's probably got about a 21-second gap over Carl Halleck. So Glenn Phillips will take this one quite easily.
Carl Halleck, I've heard, is slowing, unfortunately. So it could be, unfortunately, curtains for Carl Halleck. We'll have to keep an eye out on him. But I thought I saw that something was wrong over there as well. Number 31, Carl Halleck, who was running in second position, could be losing that out now to Yasin Darmon.
He's disappeared. There he's ambling down the back straight very slowly. Yasin Darmon now in second place. That means Craig Hume, by virtue of default, goes up to third. So that field has dissipated somewhat.
That means that Craig Hume will move up into third position, and the likes of Jaco Oosthuizen, who's leading the fine cars class, actually finds himself, Jaco Oosthuizen will be in third. Craig Hume is not very quick out there, so it is Christmas in July for some of our fine car runners, because now on the main podium for Jaco Oosthuizen, Kuni Mattia is only 1.3 seconds further back.
Oh, smoke coming out of Darmon's car as well as he braked. I don't know if that was just tires or something, but there was a massive puff of smoke out of that car, so let's hope it's not falling apart. We go down into turn number 5. We see Glenn Phillips down there. He's all in his own sim. He can actually pull off, light up a smoke, finish it, get back in and carry on and still be in the lead. That's the amount how far he is ahead. And well, he's coming up towards the line to cross over. A few of the fine cars come through, the likes of Dugmore and Lewis. And Phillips over the line. So Phillips has got 3 laps left, 3 laps to go. And well, he can basically just take a tour around the track. I don't think he'll be opposed anytime soon.
He goes past the MGB GT of Di Dugmore. The next man that he will get past there will be the Morgan of Dave Alexander that I see is a little further down there as well.
Yeah,
so Dave Alexander
down in turn 5 for the viewers there. Yasin Darmon still holding on to his car, so the smoke was proverbially tire smoke. There we see Kuni Oosthuizen and Kuni Mattia. Kuni Mattia getting a bit closer to us. He's got the grunt to get past the Conquest. I don't know why he's just labouring that Porsche, maybe leaving the best till last. He sits right up there behind him. And well, Kuni Oosthuizen probably merging that little Conquest to stay ahead there in the wet.
Well, just take a look at the gap between them. It's much closer than it looks at the moment. And they're going now down the Joubert straight towards turn 2. Another lock up there for Yasin Darmon in that turn 2 Castrol corner section. He goes a bit wide, and that's allowing those 2 fine cars right behind him to catch up. I think there could be a major problem with that Yasin Darmon Opel supercar into the Interceptor corner section. Now they won't make a move here. He goes, looks on the inside, does Jaco Oosthuizen, but he's going to have to complete that move as they force the Damen Supercar wide, and will take that place right away from him. That's second place for Jaco Oosthuizen, and third place coming up for Kuni Mattia in the Porsche 928.
Now, Kuni Mattia has got the know-how to drive it. It's just that it's an enormous Porsche, big V8. One of the only V8s that Porsche ever made, as far as I know. Everything else is flat six. So that was a sort of an exception to the rule. Is Kuni Mattia looking up on the inside there of Jaco Oosthuizen? Yep, he is. He's stuck his nose in. I was waiting for that one to come through. I was going to say he's got the legs, and the power underfoot.
The MGB is off the track of course, that is Chris Champion, excuse me, that's off the circuit.
Oh, and he's in the bath.
Goodness, that's like waterfront harbour.
No, he's stuck. No, he's not going to get out there anytime soon. It's a bit of a mud bath. So, Kuni Mattia ahead of Jaco Oosthuizen, and down into turn number 1. They roll around the outer holes up the Uber straight, make their way up towards Castrol Corner.
Yeah, they'll be on their penultimate lap now. Glenn Phillips put in another fast one, a 1:32.787, and currently leads by 51 seconds. And he's already still putting purple sectors in Sector 1 and Sector 2. So this is going to be another fast lap for him as Robert Toscano crosses the line. And we wait now for Glenn Phillips to complete the lap, a 1:31.878. For the man in the Opel Supercar, leading by over 50 seconds, and one more lap to go.
No, he's enjoying it. He's got no pressure from anywhere. He can do his own thing, and he just rolls out of turn number 1 up the Uber straight up towards Castrol Corner, giving it a full hiding. He's going to probably reel in the likes of Robert Toscano in the MX-5. But Glenn Phillips, well, he's a seasoned veteran of these supercars. He knows what's under him, and he knows what he can and can't do. Go down into turn number 5.
That should be the yellow flags waving for the MGB of Di Dugmore. Sorry, Di Dugmore's in the Austin Healey Sprite. That is Chris Champion, excuse me, Chris Champion in the MGB. The marshals will be standing by that car. This is the final lap of the race. We have the second and third places coming through now. Kuni Mattia in the Porsche crosses the line now ahead of Jaco Oosthuizen. Not updating on our screen, but he is ahead, I'll tell you that much. And now down the back straight, putting a lap on Robert Toscano is our leader, the man in the red and white Opel Supercar, Glenn Phillips, who had a battle earlier on with Andrew Moffat. Unfortunately, Andrew Moffat and Carl Halleck out of the race. Chris Champion also out of the race. There he stands on the right-hand side of the screen. And to the line, we then run with Glenn Phillips to take victory.
Well, Glenn Phillips will be happy with that outing. Robert Toscano is through the flag. He is down a bit lower there in 6th position. So he's going to wait for the rest of the field to bring themselves home.
Yeah, so Kuni Mattia will be the next man. There's still those yellow flags waving down in turn 5 because of the Chris Champion car. They will not be allowed to pass under any circumstance over there, but down the back straight, out of turn 4, saddle sweep, and towards the Pertamina Fastron corner, turn 5. Double waved yellows, as we've been saying as well, because of the MGB of Chris Champion. But here comes Kuni Mattia now, in a fine performance from him, in a fine car. And then remember, that's not only second, that's the winner of the fine car class as well. So underneath the Castrol City of Cape Town bridge, to the line, Porsche 928 Kuni Mattia wins ahead of Jaco Oosthuizen, both of them putting great performances in. And then, now making it to the end, Yassine Darman. And after the trials and tribulations of that race, puffs of smoke coming from the side of that car, possibly a bit of bodywork as well, also on rubbing against the tyre. Then Craig Hume will get 4th. And, so I'm just showing over there. So Robert Toscano comes through in 6th. Dave Alexander with the Morgan will come through in 7th position. Now, here comes a little battle. Here's Di Dugmore in the Austin Healey, in the little Sprite, against Roger Lewis in the MGA. And they're going to run it to the line, and it's going to be Di Dugmore that will take that position. ahead of Roger Lewis, who will round off the 9 classified finishers.